Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to make a banger melodic drum and bass track using my Serum 2 sound bank. So let's dive in. Let's start with the foundation of our track, bass progression. Let's add a sick reese bass to create a solid foundation for our track. I will go to my sound bank and let's find one. This sounds nice. I will use reese bass 1, it has a nice soft vibe. So let's set the BPM to 172. Now let's create a bass progression. So I will go D sharp, F and G. And I can go D sharp, A sharp, C. Nice. Now we can add some gliding notes. Now a pro mix trick, impact friendly bass. So as you can see, I added Suit 2 on the bass. You might ask, why on us? To get a clean mix with the impacts. We always add hit impacts to introduce the intro. So I did that too. But I sidechain the impact to the bass using Suit 2, which dynamically ducks the bass. Now to do that, route your impact to the bass. Open Suit 2 and make sure it's only affecting the low end. Now go to settings, then processing, select the impact as your sidechain input. Now simply just enable the sidechain button. Then play with the bands, depth and mix knob. For this I kept the depth at 7.2 and mix at 80% for subtle effect. Then I added vocals. The vocal is already processed, so I did not add anything except this compressor. I don't know why.
Again, I'm breaking all the patterns, learn my lesson.
Now we need reverb and delay, but don't add them directly to the main bus. Use a sidechain bus. Sidechain your main vocals to two separate buses, one for reverb and one for delay. Now I'm using Valhalla Room for reverb.
Once again, I'm
and Fruity Delay 3 for delay.
Once again, I'm
This helps to EQ the reverb and delay without messing with the original vocal signal. I added an EQ to shape the reverb because the reverb boosts the highs. So listen the reverb without this EQ.
Once again,
You can hear there is a lot of high-end frequencies and we don't want that. And with this EQ,
once again,
it sounds more soft and clean. And same with the delay. As you can see, I have this EQ to shape the sound. Then again this EQ which is cutting the high end and the low end and some muddy frequencies. That's it. So that's how you add reverb and delay without messing with the main signal. With this method, you can control the volume of your reverb and delay by just controlling the volume of these two buses.
once again, I'm breaking all the patterns.
So you have more control over your reverb and delay. Now the atmosphere, the emotion of our track. Now that we have a nice vocal and bass progression, we need a sick ambience to elevate the vibe. I'm using my atmospheric sample pack volume 2. I added these ambient shots. And this one. Then these drones. Which is pretty sick. And on the ambiences, I'm just adding a reverb and delay. So all the samples are from my pack except these three. I created this simple Atmos and added shaper box for different effects with some chorus to make it wide. Now we have a nice intro.
Once again, I'm breaking all the patterns, learn my lesson.
Now after the intro, we transition to the verse with transition sounds like tambourine, crashes and wind chimes. All the sounds have a reverse or sweep up effect like the sound, which is very important, or you can say it makes it very helpful for smooth transitions. So on the tambourine, I added a ping pong delay to make it go left and right, which helps to cover the stereo spectrum. And also a few more impacts. So altogether, it sounds like this. Pretty sick. Now it's time to add some sick chord progression, and for that you need a sick chord sound. I'll use chord defendant from my sound bank, which is a pretty sick sound. So this is our chord progression, which is very simple, and for the effects, I'm just adding this EQ to cut the low end. I will also add a plug shot from my Atmos pack to create a nice melody for the background. After that, we have to do some foreshadowing. I added a synth to reduce the drop melody with some delay and reverb. Just one sound, lead blame, and for the effects, ping pong delay, then a reverb and a simple EQ, that's it. Without effect, it sounds like this. Then I also added this cool vocal chop. That's it for the break. So our break sounds like this.
At the end, I got away from everything that I know.
We transition straight to the build-up, adding sick build-up drums, effects, and a riser to build tension. I added an extra chord layer for movement and some more crispiness. I'm using chord Enigma and there is no post-processing. Then I rendered out the main chord and automated its volume right before the drop. Then I added drop elements with reverb and filter automation. Then I also added build-up automation, just high pass and volume automation, that's it. Now, the drop, which you have all been waiting for. Let's start with the drums, the most essential part of drum and bass. Start with a punchy kick. On the kick, I'm adding EQs to shape the sound. Then a shaper box to make it short, then a clipper to clip it. Kick without effect sounds like this. With effect, it sounds like this. Short, tight and punchy. Now the snares. Add a hard-hitting snare. I added EQ to cut the unwanted low end, but don't go crazy. Then a clipper. That's it. So snare without effect sounds like this. With effect, it sounds like this. Pretty cool. Now one of the important thing is shakers and top loops. As you can see, this one has a lot of rhythm. And this one is a bit more static. But I changed the volume for the groove. So as you can hear, this one is going left and right, which helps to cover the stereo spectrum. And this one is a whole stack of some top loops. Then downlifters and crashes. So altogether, it sounds like this. Then I added drum fills to add more groove. Pretty sick. On the shakers, I'm adding this EQ to cut the low end, and as you can see, I'm adding sidechain on the shakers to make sure the transient of the kick and snare are clean. Then all of them are linked to this main drum bus where I'm adding cashmere essentials to glue the drums all together. Then at last a clipper to clip it. Now it's time for some ear candy. I love adding some small ear candies like vocal shots, Atmos sounds to make the drop sound more fuller. So I add these vocal shots. Sounds pretty cool. Then I added another vocal shot. And for the effects on this vocal shot, I'm adding a chroma, then a bunch of OTT, EQ to cut the low end. That's it. Then after that, I'm adding some ambience. This one is from the intro. Then altogether, it sounds like this. Pretty cool. Now the drop synths. Let's start with the drop bass, which set the hype and energy when the drop hits. So we need some sick sounds. I use one of my presets, Bass Burst. And for the effects, I'm adding distortion through Camel Crusher, then Fruity Reverb for automation, then again EQ to control the low end a bit. Then I'm using this new plugin, KHS Compactor for sidechain. It's a free plugin, so to use it, sidechain your kick to your synth bus. Then open Compactor and select the sidechain input to 3+4. Then go to settings, then select the kick in the aux input. So to get a nice sidechain, keep the attack volume same, then set the release and hold to a small values. For hold, keep it under 0.1, for release like 0.2 or 0.15. But I'm still using Kickstart for the final sidechain, like a two-step verification method. Pro L2 for limiting, that's it. And in the B part, I'm using these synth shots. And some vocal shots like for switch ups. Switch up! Let's start with the drop bass. So these are the layers. First one, bass attack, then bass battle, bass vortex, then a 6 sub bass. On the mid bass, I'm adding this EQ to cut the sub because we have a separate sub bass. Then I'm adding bass goodizer, which is a free plugin by Kling. So I'm adding some erosion, distortion and OTT. Again distortion through Camel Crusher, and at last EQ to shape the sound. On the sub bass, I'm adding this EQ to cut the high end, then a distortion, again EQ, and at last a clipper to cut the peaks. Then all of them are linked to this main final bus where I'm adding EQ to shape it, then a KHS compactor for sidechain, then at last kickstart for final sidechain, like two-step verification. Bass without effect sounds like this. With effect, it sounds like this. And in the B part of the drop, it's just sub bass. In the C part, we have this Reese bass. For transition, I'm using this bass, Reese 5. For the effects, I'm adding bass goodizer again, some chorus, erosion, distortion, OTT, then again EQ, and Suit 2 for automation, and a clipper. That's it. Now, the drop leads. These are the layers. So on this lead layer, I'm adding a chroma which is set to G minor scale and EQ to shape it. Then on the rest of the layers, I'm adding bass goodizer. So I'm just adding some erosion, some distortion, OTT and chorus. Then after that, I'm adding this EQ to cut the low end. Then again OTT, then some distortion, tube warm preset. Then again EQ to shape the sound. Then both the lead is linked to this bus where I'm adding EQ to shape it. Then Valhalla room and Fruity filter for automation. Then at last clipper to cut the peaks. Then it's linked to the sidechain bus. Now the main thing is automation. Without automation, it sounds flat. But with automation, it comes alive. So I'm adding pitch automation and reverb automation. So to create pitch automation, open Serum, then set the pitch amount to like +2 and -2 or +12, -12, whatever you like. Then move this pitch knob. Click on this knob and select create automation clip. Then create the automation as you want. That's it. So now if you want to link all these synth layers, just open the synth and move the pitch bend knob and make sure the bend amount is same for all the synths and click on this knob. Now this time click on the link to controller. From here choose the pitch automation clip. That's it. And make sure remove conflict is disabled. Do this for all the synths you want to link. I'm also automating the bass and the chords with the same pitch automation. Now in the B part, I'm adding this foghorn. Nice and crunchy. I'm adding this foghorn, lead DNB, and a duplicate layer with different wavetable. And for the effects, I'm adding EQ to shape the sound, then colorizer, which is a free patcher preset from 6 sounds, then ODD, then saturation, then again EQ to shape the sound, then Valhalla for automation, then again EQs to shape it, then at last Pro L2 for limiting. That's it. Now the chords. Layers. And for the effects, I'm adding EQ to shape the sound, some decapitator, then ODD, then again EQ to shape it, then a Suit 2. And for sidechain, it's linked to the lead bus. Now, in the second part of the drop, for variation, I changed the lead melody. Also in the foghorn. And I'm also adding a counter melody. For effects, just OTT, stereo shaper and G-clip. That's it. Then I add this string from Splice. And this arc. And finally, some vocal effects. On the vocals, I'm adding some OTT and the main thing is shaper box. So I'm automating the drive and panning. Then I'm adding a Suit 2 to remove the unwanted frequencies, then a EQ to cut the low end, then reverb for automation, then KHS compactor for sidechain. And yeah, that's it for the track. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, it's time to check out the final result.
Once again, I'm breaking all the patterns, learn my lesson. No, not all beginnings are the end. I got away from everything that I've known, and I won't waste another minute
track was made by Anasami. This track was made by Anasami. This track was made by Anasami.
This is a pure banger, to be honest. So, if you love the track, all the synths used in this track are from my Serum 2 soundbank. So, if you're interested, check it out. Also, you can grab Atmospheric Sample Pack Volume 2. It has sick Atmos sounds and I use it in my every song. And it's the best way to support the channel so I can keep making these videos. Head over to anasaminmusic.com. So, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share and subscribe. Thanks for all the support. I will meet you in the next one. Have a great weekend. Peace.